What's up, everybody? You're back with the Chosen Khan, and today in the studio we have with us the international Singh, Rohan, Sukhmeet. Like, there's a lot of different names. I think he's like the most mysterious man in all of Surrey. You know what I mean? A man of many identities. All right. So how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Can't complain, man. You know what I mean? Good. It's been interesting since we first met.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw you was at your party.
Yes.
Right. And so today, I think it's a lot. I'm just dying of heat, right?
It's pretty hot in the studio.
It's real hot. So I wanted to, I guess, talk about a couple different things with you, man. I wanted people to first understand who the international Singh is, because I'm trying to figure out who the international Singh is.
All right.
So me and you, we met through Instagram. Was it not?
Yeah.
Right. How did you even find me on Instagram?
Well, I think it was through a mutual friend, Tanvir.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
On the birthday.
Yeah. And then, I guess that's how we connected. And we were following each other ever since.
Yeah. So. I kept seeing shirtless pictures of you. I was like, I know this guy. I was like, because I remember that we met, but I was like, I didn't really know you well.
Yeah.
So I kept seeing all these adventures you were going on. I was like, what? This guy is a very interesting cat. I'm serious. I'd see you like with that one infamous picture where you're like shirtless and you got like a fish.
Ocean side.
Yeah. It's like, what? I was like, this is a brown dude with a pug on and shirtless. You mean up north? I'm serious. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
What's he doing there?
I was like, what are his parents? His parents are letting him do this? This guy's living my dream. You know what I mean? So that's why today I wanted to get you in the studio, because you're super interesting, man. Ever since I've gotten to know you a little bit more and more, you're someone that's perspective, I think, is really key, right? And today I wanted to, I guess, even start with the origins of Mr. International Singh, right? So you are originally from... Were you born in Surrey?
I was born in Amritsar, India.
Oh,
I
really?
moved to Canada when I was 7 years old. So in 2002.
That's when you moved here?
Yeah.
Why did you end up moving here?
My parents wanted a better future for me and my brother. So my brother was just born in India. He celebrated his first birthday in Canada after us immigrating here 9 days after. So literally his first birthday was here. And my parents were like, I think it's a better life in Canada. More opportunities. And I agree, like the opportunities that I got here versus that I would have gotten in India. Like, no comparison. So.
And so what were your parents doing out in India?
My dad was the head of ZTV of all of India. So he was the bureau chief of that. Yeah. So well-paid job. Like, he was so successful at 24 years old. No one had, at this age, been able to do what he did. Yeah. And my mom had her own company, interior designing.
Damn,
so
man. It's a power couple.
Yeah. Both arts. Yeah. And I want to go into medicine.
That's we're going to get there. We'll get there. So that's how you're raised?
Yeah. So it was a joint family. My dad's brothers and my grandfather, my grandmother, we all lived in the same house, cousins, everyone. And so when I came to Canada, my parents were lucky enough that they found their jobs in their field. A lot of people, they don't get the jobs in their fields. Like, a lot of people are military officers there, or doctors or engineers that come here to do security, taxi, all that. Yeah, so I guess my parents were fortunate in that.
My dad always makes that joke. He's like, you know where the best place to get a heart attack is in Vancouver? I'm like, where? He's like, a taxi cab. And I was like, why? And he's like, because most of them are doctors. Yeah. Or that's actually a real thing.
It's true, though. It's so true, because a lot of them don't qualify for the credentials here, which is stupid.
And so your dad was, your mom and dad were both able to?
Yeah. My dad got a job 5 days into coming to Canada.
Damn, he's a go-getter. Yeah. What was his job when he came here?
He was, I think, Channel Punjabi or something like that. Some radio channel. So he got into the field right away.
And then for you, like, what was it like when you came here when you were 7?
For me, it was very challenging, to say the least. In India, I was like a very spoiled, popular kid, okay? Yeah. And so when I was coming to Canada, I had no expectations. I thought it'd just be like Caucasians and there wouldn't be people who looked like me. First school I went to was J.T. Brown. They put me in grade 2. That's where I met Aaron and Pratap and everyone too.
Shout out Probably Sweets, man.
Probably Sweets, yeah. I used to get free stuff there all the time. Yeah. So when I came to Canada, I was actually teased a lot by South Asian kids.
About what? Like, what would they tease you about? Your accent?
About my accent, about my clothes. I wore I had buttoned up clothes and like very bright, colorful clothes. Yeah. Little shorts. My food. I used to bring like prantas and stuff to school. Yeah. Because I thought it'd be fine, like I'm being me. Clearly, all the other brown kids were not okay with that. And I found that really odd, because none of the white kids or anyone else were saying anything to me.
That's interesting.
That really bothered me.
What did they say to you? Like, what kind
I was called a Gyani.
Yeah, Gyani. We talked about this in like Arnie's episode, man.
Yeah,
Gyani.
I don't
it means, it doesn't mean knowledge. Like it means
just like, it means like you have so much knowledge about your about everything about. I'm like, I don't, you know.
But they give you it's a negative connotation.
They have a negative connotations, and then like a lot of like saying like gutti, for instance. I can't stand that word, for instance.
And what does gutti mean? Isn't that just like what you're wearing on?
It's like it's a juda.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's how you tie your hair. It's a juda. They say gutti and all these. I'm like, why are you saying this? It like just aggravates me, you know.
My name is Ryan. Damn it! It's gonna become international Singh once. Like this is what. That's what it began with. Like,
yeah.
And then what about the food?
Food too. Like I guess everyone brought like Western food, like pizzas and all that. I didn't bring any of that ever. My parents didn't have the money to get let me buy stuff at school as well, like pizza lunches and all that. Yeah. I never got any of that, but so I used to get teased about that. I still remember this one girl who used to tease me. I'm not going to say that person's name.
Yeah. It's probably Aaron.
No, Aaron was amazing. This girl, she was in my French class in grade 12. I met her after so many years. So since grade 2, I never saw her again in grade 12. And it was so funny. I don't think she realized, but I remembered everything, all these memories going on in my head. But of course, I was still nice to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would I treat someone bad if they treated me like that in grade 2?
What did she do to you?
Every day she would pick on me if I was like my accent, always pick on my accent. But I always made myself better. When the teacher asked us, they were like, who wants to represent the class or the school in a speech competition or anything?
Yeah.
My hand would always go up. Like, even though people were making fun of me, I was like, I don't care. I'm here to do me, you know? Like, I'm going to improve I'm going to improve my English. I'm going to do everything. Like, my dad's a journalist. Like, I know how to speak. I was put in ESL, and usually in ESL, you're supposed to stay for 4 years or something. I was taken out in 8 months.
That's huge, yeah.
So,
that's crazy, man. In 8 months?
Yeah.
What was ESL like?
ESL
do you remember it at all?
I do. My teacher, so when I went to Beaver Creek, my other school, after a year, I was put in ESL.
And ESL is English as a second language for people.
Yeah. And so this teacher, Miss Bent, I still remember her. I still talk to her. I actually got her contact information the other day. I love staying in touch with old teachers. I think it's amazing. And so she used to spend a lot of time with me improving my verbs and my adjectives and all those pronouns and nouns. I think my English was better back then than it is now.
Oh.
Like all the texting now, like all those.
It's slang, man. I don't know what I'm saying half the time.
Yeah. So
it's lit.
There used to be a group of us, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It was interesting. She used to spend a lot of time improving workbooks and everything. Yeah. But at home as well, my dad, ever since in India to up here as well, I was always the top student.
Yeah.
And so my dad, instead of playing video games like how we were talking about before, instead of playing video games, I actually used to do workbooks in my free time. My dad used to get books from Costco and everything, and I used to finish a workbook a day.
Damn, man, you're everything my parents wanted, and they did not get. Holy crap! So then you're in ESL. It seems like it was an enjoyable time for you.
It was good. It was good.
You had a great teacher.
Yeah, and so in Beaver Creek, I was never bullied or anything. I noticed a lot of other people were being bullied, Aboriginal students especially.
What was that like?
It really, again, bothered me a lot.
What did you see?
Well, there was this one First Nation student in my class, and again, I don't know if I should say his name or not.
No, I don't need to,
so he was always being tormented and about their culture, about how their lifestyle is. I remember once we had a presentation about the First Nation cultures and everything, and everyone after was making fun of him because, I guess they didn't understand their singing and all their dancing and everything.
It's foreign. Yeah,
it's foreign to them, but I'm like, they were the first people here of Canada.
The OGs.
Yeah. So why would you be making fun of them? And for me, it was more about, not even about him being made fun of. It was about me being I remember that feeling, and that feeling I did not like at all. I felt hopeless. And so I did not want someone else to go through that.
And I remember you were telling me about this, because you had been made fun of beforehand, like you just said, you ended up doing this initiative. Oh, I remember this now, man. What was the initiative? How old were you?
Grade 6.
Yeah, at Beaver Creek.
Yeah, I don't know how old that is, but
I don't know either, man. Probably 11.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And so I was at Beaver Creek, and I had no clue that this would become such a big thing. but I told my teacher, Miss Bent, again.
Shout out Miss Bent.
Yeah. So I told her, I was like, hey, can we do a First Nation powwow dance at our school?
Yes.
I wanted him to feel included. Because I remember we used to have a Saki celebration, Eid celebration. I was like, why aren't we not having a First Nation celebration? So that year I helped organize this dance, the powwow dance. And there was actually another First Nation girl. I didn't even know about this. Miss Bent was just telling me all this. She's like, I still remember you were in the music room going up to the girl being like, hey, can you teach me the dance moves and everything? And she was like, no, this is only for First Nations. You can't dance. But I was like, I want to help get this out to the other students as well. And Miss Bent was like, I remember you being so adamant that you have to do this so then other people will learn the First Nation culture. And so she allowed me to learn the dances and everything. And so there were like 20, we had a school assembly, there were like 20 First Nation students, and there was a First Nation teacher, and then there was me. And
the one brown dude.
The one brown dude in the costume.
Respect.
And we were going in a circle doing the powwow dance, and by the end of the assembly, the whole school was doing a whole circle. So everyone was up on their feet, and they were joining in on the dance.
What's a powwow dance like? You could even describe it.
A powwow dance is like, it's a celebration. It's a religious. You can make it whatever.
Yeah.
It depends on like the different things that you bring into it. Ours was a basic like very like entertaining and like trying to get people to know the culture. So it's like you dance in a circle, and there's drums and the throat singing and everything, and so everyone in the end was joining in.
Yeah.
And this initiative, I guess. They created a club at Beaver Creek after this, and so now every year they have this. And Miss Bent was telling me how they have so like less bullying now at Beaver Creek because of this one incident.
I believe it, dude.
And I had like honestly like till today, like my dad sometimes asks, he's like, "How do you remember this?" Like, you know, he's like, "Did you really do this?" And like Miss Bent, when she told me all this, like I had like little memories here and there of it. But when she told me all these details about it, like it started bringing me back all these memories. And so it's like anyone can make a difference. Honestly, you just have to be nice to another human. That's it.
But that's for a lot of people.
It's so hard.
It's like, what?
It's so hard.
I gotta be nice to this guy. And so it's cool because the fact that you couldn't even remember that you had done that.
Yeah.
One of my mentors, Dave, my mentor was saying, he's like, I think when you're selfless, you'll forget. Like you wouldn't have, remember you wouldn't even be creative of it. Yeah. Other people say you did that and you're like, I did? Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't really think much of it, but you were just being you, man. You're being real. Yeah. That's cool. And so that happened in grade 7.
Grade 6, grade 7.
6, yeah. And then where did you go to high school?
Tamana-West.
Oh, yeah, Tammy Wildcats. What was that like for you?
It was fine because, like, I was, again, not bullied in elementary school when I went to Beaver Creek. So, like, the whole crowd that I went to Beaver Creek were, like, my friends. Yeah. But then again, I saw a lot of the people that I was friends with. Like, I try to stay friends with everyone. That's just me, you know? But I saw a lot of people going into different groups.
The cliques, yeah.
Cliques, exactly. And that, again, bothered me. I was like, why? Like, everyone was totally chill with each other. In elementary school, why is everyone changing now?
Where did they go? Like, what were some of the different types? Like,
so people created the nerds, the jocks, the bad kids.
Yeah. Well, you gravitate. It's like your echo chamber. Don't worry, you gravitate towards like your homies. Yeah. You're right though, man. And then they never really talk to one another in a sense too, right?
So many people started losing touch. I remember best friends not talking to each other anymore. I'm just like, wow, like, you know, like how can you change like that? Just try to become popular.
Yeah.
For me, that was never the case. I never tried to fit in.
Yeah.
I still remember when some people would talk about me, but I would just ignore it. I'd be like, whatever, let it just be the bigger person. And then I would try to be friends with everyone from all these different groups because I was like, well, there's no difference between any of us, you know? It's just categories being put on everyone. And so, again, with that, in grade 12, I created a club called Students Without Borders. And so we got people from all these different cliques and groups to come together. Yeah. And so I had a few people from each group. Girls, guys, grade 8s, grade 12s, everyone, the jocks, the nerds, all these different people. And in 4 months, we raised over $10,000 towards building a well in Kenya.
How did you get them together?
So I thought of the idea of creating this club because, again, I wanted to leave an impact on my high school. And so I asked a few of my friends, and they were okay. Like, they wanted to join, and we made announcements at school, and we had over 50 members. So that was pretty cool.
That's sweet, man. The fact that you were able to see people, not the title. Yeah. You were able to unite them over one common cause is a beautiful thing. That's like what I'm all about, man.
Yeah.
And then,
that's exactly what it is.
So that was your high school. You were never a part of any of the groups. You were just trying to be you.
I was in the AP classes, but I was also part of the rugby team.
Yeah.
And so, like, I did all these different things. And I didn't really like anyone putting a label on me. I've never been the person who likes labels.
Good to you. Tell me, good to you and all the, like, I'm fed up. That's why you got, like, right now, international Singh, right? So many things,
there you
go.
That's international Singh for a reason.
So then after that, you ended up going to school at SFU? Or?
No, I went to McGill in Montreal.
Oh, yeah, McGill. Sorry, So you went there. What was that like?
Well, first, I chose McGill over... I got a full-ride scholarship to every single university in Canada.
Well, respect, man. I feel smart just hanging out with this guy. Go ahead.
So everyone was telling me to go to UBC. For me, though, I wanted to... I didn't even know McGill was in Montreal or anything.
Yeah.
I just knew McGill as my dream school, where there's people from all around the world. It has the highest multicultural rate in all of Canada.
No way, yeah.
People there, I've heard, are so nice. So I was like, hey, this goes exactly with what I like, meeting people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so I went to Montreal.
I was just
18. Oh, before that, I went to Ghana by myself.
Okay, hold on. Let's go to Ghana. Okay, so I was just in Ghana for just, a little bit. So what happened in Ghana? Why were you in Ghana? What the hell is going on?
On the day that we graduated from high school, June 20th, I still remember the date. Yeah. I traveled to Ghana a few months before. I told my mom and dad, I was like, hey, I want to go to Africa by myself with an organization to go help people there. And my mom was so hesitant. She's like, what? You're 16, you're 17 years old?
Yeah.
It's like, why would you go by yourself? And my dad's like, go ahead,
He understood.
Yeah.
What was the organization called?
You Volunteer.
And so what did you do?
So pretty much went there, stayed in like a house, and over there I spent time in a hotel, or hostel.
Yeah.
And worked in a hospital, in an orphanage, and just gaining information about the world, traveling.
Yeah.
You learn so much more from traveling than from a textbook. What are some things you learned? Some things that I learned that Ghana has the highest rate of happiness in the world.
Dead serious, really?
Yeah.
I believe it, yeah.
People there are so happy with, like, just little things, I remember taking a soccer ball to this kid, and he was so happy. I remember taking, the little Canada pins that we get on Canada Day? Girls wearing it as earrings. I was like, I don't know if you should do this, but if it makes you happy, why not?
Yeah.
And we were, like, singing "Oh Canada" on July 1st when I was there, and then they were teaching me their national anthem. So it's like exchanging knowledge.
Yeah.
And like before going to university and like just seeing a different world, it opened my eyes up to so much more,
You were saying earlier before I cut you off, which I apologize, you were like, you learn way more through traveling than textbooks.
Yeah.
Right? And so Ghana, you were there for 3 months?
That was like my, my stepping stone into international volunteering and all that. I was there for a month and a half.
That's still a long time.
Yeah. And then after that, I went to India to volunteer as well.
Okay, so Ghana, then India?
Yeah.
Okay, what were you doing in India?
My whole summer, I never spend my summers, like, relaxing.
Yeah.
For me, relaxing is going and helping people.
Travel, yeah.
So that's my relaxation.
What did you do in India?
So at the age of 5, my dad... So before I was 5 years old, I was a very spoiled kid.
Uh-huh.
I got everything that I wanted. I still remember me being a little brat. And then at the age of 5, my dad took me to this place called Pingalara.
Yeah.
It's a destitute for the homeless. It provides, shout out to McDonald's.
Shout out to McDonald's, man.
So then over there at Pingalara, there's a school for the deaf, for the blind and all that. And I remember seeing all these kids my age with all these problems, and I was like, what? Like, what is this? Like, I thought everyone was like me, That really opened my eyes.
Yeah.
And after that, that's what led me into volunteering. So when I went to India again, I went back there, and I was there for 2 months.
Yeah.
I was teaching at a school for the deaf.
Yeah.
And
what was that like, teaching?
Oh my gosh, it was the most amazing experience of my life. This girl Jyoti, I'll show you a video of it too. By the end of the time, I taught her how to say her name, even though she can't hear.
How do you do it?
Using your mouth and your tongue, making it very clear, so then they can like read it off your lips. And then they were teaching me sign language and everything. It was amazing. And then when like it was pretty much like mostly sick over there, so there was like this light in the crowd because they can't hear.
Yeah.
So when this light used to come on, it used to flash, and that was like their prayer time. And so they would stop everything, and then they would like start praying, like close their eyes.
Wow.
It was just so like it was so magical seeing all this.
Wow, yeah. Dude, that's like this is why we have international Singh today. Like holy crap, man.
Yeah, that was so magical. Like I think that if there's a highlight so far in my life, it'd be teaching Jyoti how to say her name and her teaching me sign language and all that.
You guys made an incredible bond, man.
Yeah. I really want to see her again when I go to India, like
you're going
this
soon.
Friday.
Yeah. Have you like got in contact with her or anything?
No, but like I'm going to Bangalore, so hopefully she's still there. There was another like kid there. I remember he had epilepsy. He was blind and he was 8 months old, and they were telling me that his parents just left him up in a box outside the place and they took him in. And so I remember like feeding him, I think it was like some roti or I don't know what it was, with a spoon in like a crib that was like, had like rust on it and everything. Mm-hmm. And just like when I was looking at him, I was just like, wow, like that's one of the reasons why I want to go into medicine. It's like these are the people that inspire me. These are the kids. It's just like, even though he was blind, I could like see him. Like I felt like he could see me, and I could see him. We could feel each other. That was a very touching moment as well there.
It's interesting because you just said that's why, one of the reasons why you want to go into medicine, right?
Yeah.
Earlier you were saying your mom and dad are both creatives. They never push you to be in medicine.
No.
Right? Whereas like the Brown world, it's like...
Doctor, engineer,
lawyer. You forced into first doctor, he's a dumbass. Okay, you can't be a doctor now. Engineer, okay, lawyer. And then it's like, not even a lawyer? What the hell's wrong with you? So the fact that you came to that realization you want to be a doctor on your own is powerful, man.
Yeah.
Right? And then what happened after that? Like you came back?
I came back, then I went to McGill.
Oh, so you must have just like, when you got to McGill, you already had a world...
Yeah.
Like a worldly, an amount of worldly knowledge.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was amazing. I, first of all, didn't know anyone because I did not know anyone who was going from Surrey or BC to McGill. And it was funny, when I got there, there were a few kids that knew me. And I was like, what? How do you know me? I guess they saw some of my volunteer work in a magazine or something. And so that was pretty cool. Like, I was like, hey, I did not expect anyone to know me here. And for me, like, to get to, again, know everyone and put myself out there in first year, I remember I told my parents, I was like, hey, I'm going to run for president of the Freshman Undergraduate Science Society.
I was like, this man's running for president of the whole thing. That's crazy.
No, of the Science Society. Yeah. And so I literally knew 0 people. Yeah. And I ended up winning. Yeah, and so
that's hard, man. What was it like?
It was pretty interesting. Again, you had to make conversations with everyone. You had to get to know everyone on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. It was awesome because that's how I met so many of my friends that I have today through that first year and making that effort to go out and meet people. Yeah, just being social and being nice, you know.
So you did that, and then what happened? Like you're at McGill, right? You're the president now, El Presidente. You mean like then what's going down?
Just doing different things, like joining different clubs. One of the clubs that I joined first year, and I did every single year in my McGill career was 5 years for the homeless.
5 years. Well, 5 years is tough.
5 days.
5 years is a long time.
5 days for the homeless. I did it for 4 years. That's what I meant to say. So 5 days for the homeless.
What was that like for you? Because I did it 1 year, but what was it like?
The weather. I saw a few of my friends doing it. I'm like, yo,
y'all are chilling.
You guys have the sun now and like nice weather. Yeah. Roof. Like you guys have like the thing over your head. We had. When we did it, it was like negative 25. There was a blizzard one day. I remember it was raining one day. We had a tarp over our head. In the morning when we woke up, we had snow covering the tarp. So we had insulation by that. Yeah. And then in my 4th year, I remember because there was like construction in our regular place, we had to sleep somewhere else. There was a flood at night. And we were in a downhill place. And because of the water, we woke up in the morning all wet.
So no one woke up during the flood, like
it was like water just flowing through. Like the people at the edges woke up. Yeah. But I was like sound asleep. I woke up in the morning and it just had like a huge water full with water, and you can't go home shower. You can't like do anything. Like, to go to class. It was all soaked.
Wow.
But it was again, such an amazing experience. Over the 5 years, we raised over $55,000 or $60,000 towards Dans La Rue, an organization to put homeless youth in Montreal up, getting a job, getting them cleaned up, and all that.
That's huge, man.
Awesome experience.
A lot of people, like, even when I did it, it's they don't even know that it exists. There's a lot of young homeless people.
There's so many young, and it's like I remember I heard about, like, you're saying this as well, where people are so quick to judge, like, you're in the streets because you do drugs. That's not the case at all. I remember, like, my dad is, like, the one who instilled within me, like, you can't judge anyone. Yeah. Ever since we came to Canada, even if we didn't have a lot of money, if my dad saw someone on the street, he would always stop over and give him money or buy him food. Yeah. So through him, I learned that you can't judge a person by them being on the street at all.
Think about it this way too, man. Right? You don't know what got them to that. And
exactly.
Like for me, I always bring up I have a relative, like an uncle, that at a young age I'd always see him wandering downtown East Side. Yeah. And I recall when I saw him once where he was like grabbing food from like the garbage can. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, oh, that's my uncle. What the hell, right? Yeah. But it was like a mental health issue. But it really opened up my mind because I was like, yo, that's my uncle, that's my blood, that's my family. Yeah. So most people, we see it as like, these guys are like, I don't know who we dehumanize them. I don't know who the hell this really is, whatever it is, right? So when I saw that, man, and the more I started meeting people, I realized this. Like, this is a realization I had. Look at the brown community. Yeah. Think about how many kids would be homeless if they didn't have this big safety net.
Yeah, so many.
And how many, like, have a mental health issue or, like, a drug problem, and we put them, like, in the basement suite. Yeah. Or we get them married. Even worse, we get them married. We're like, this guy's
pass
like,
on the blame to someone else.
Yeah, it's real crazy. It's a real thing.
It's true.
And so that's one thing that I was like, oh, that's why there's not many brown people out here. Yeah. Right? But the big demographic, what I noticed was indigenous people. Yeah. Right? And they're getting screwed. But that's more of like a generational thing, right? Yeah, yeah. So then what happened? Like you did 5 days, man, and you started making a lot of friends. You started meeting different types of people. And it seems like it started solidifying this whole humanitarian work for you.
Yeah. Right? It was good until, like, in second year, I remember one of my roommates and me, we didn't really get along. Yeah. That was the first time that was the first time in my life where I was like, hey, everyone doesn't like me. Yeah. I genuinely thought everyone liked me. I thought genuinely this world was a nice place. Yeah, yeah. And I'm so glad for that 1 year of torture.
What happened?
Well, I was pretty much like verbally abused every single day. Did not feel comfortable staying in my own place.
Like how are you getting verbally abused? Like what happened?
He just used to tell me to go back to where you came from. And
how did you guys become roommates?
We were friends before, but I don't know.
The racism kicked in?
I don't know. Yeah, man. I really don't know. Yeah. I don't know, but...
Was he going through some tough times or just like hate brown people? You stole this girl? What did you do? What did you do?
I don't think I did anything, but... So yeah, that led me to like a little downward spiral a bit. I was just like contemplating a lot of stuff. I was like, do I even deserve to be at McGill, for instance? Yeah. Like, because if, like, you know, of course I was like, yeah, I'm smart. Like, I know that. But once you hear it every single day, it, like, starts getting stuck in your head. And I remember some days I wouldn't even leave my room because I did not want to see his face. And so I overcame that, started raising awareness about mental health issues on campus. I was part of the Student Society of McGill University, which is, like, the board that runs, like, the student services that runs all of McGill. And in my position as clubs and services representative of McGill and sciences representative, we created an ad hoc committee for mental health. That was the first time ever at McGill that a committee was created especially to target mental health in our population because it's such an ignored topic. And I know a lot of friends who are dealing with mental health issues. And I remember they used to just, like, talk to me for hours and hours. Because, like, for me, I'm always, like, the person who would always hear and, like, help them out. So, like, by creating this committee, we created a lot of more dialogue and talk about this in our campus. So that was one of the things that I dealt with. That was, like, downfall. But it turned into a positive. Yeah. And so that experience made me so much better, I think. I realized that people are not always nice to you. You have to deal with that, and you have to learn to accept that and move past it and be the bigger person.
It's a real thing, man. What I'm learning as well about life is that there's gonna be people that are just maybe they're cynical or they're vindictive or they're just not. And at the end of the day, the problem or the thing that most people do, the mistake they make is they try and they're like, I'm gonna try and change this person.
Yeah,
You can't
change the person,
right? You just, and at the end of the day, you just let them flow, let them be. And whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But if you try and change them, is when the pushback comes.
Yeah,
and it blows up in your face.
It's so true, and it's funny. Like this same person that used to do all this to me, now they always message me, like, "Hey, what's up?" Like trying to be my best friend, you know. So I realize that people are not how they seem to be.
Until you live with someone, man.
Until you live,
you
with
won't understand that's something I learned.
Yeah,
you won't know what person's really like until you actually live with them.
Yeah,
right. That's so crazy. True. So then, okay, you had a tough roommate, and right, and we're slowly we're running out of time. I wanted to really end off with your trip up north.
Yeah,
because I know that you were gone. That's what I was really keeping up with.
Yeah.
When did you leave?
So I graduated from McGill, and over the summer I saw one of my friends. She went to the north.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I've always been involved with Indigenous issues and everything. So I really wanted to do something with that. And once I saw the opportunity, I got in touch with the school up there.
Yeah.
And I went there from January till May of this year. So
January till May, yeah.
So the coldest months. So when I went there, it was funny. Darkness, total darkness.
No sun.
No sun, zero sun.
So what's that like? Like just every day, like
it was crazy. Going to school in the morning and walking there in a blizzard. No sun, God knows what animal is lurking around, it's the wilderness.
You ever see anything crazy?
No. Luckily I didn't see any. Thank God I had my roommate, he would walk with me.
Yeah. But how would you survive with just that darkness? You guys have a lantern or your flashlight?
Yeah, inside the house we have lights to brighten it up, and in the school it's bright. Very bright lights.
Yeah, in my mind, because I'm just envisioning a bunch of igloos and all of this. You know what I mean? How the North is perceived to be.
Yeah, so it's so funny because that's exactly what I pictured when I went there. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm definitely gonna be seeing a lot of igloos, Instagram pictures right there, with igloos. Yeah, yes. Yeah. I go there and the school is better than my high school was.
Yeah, it was legit.
So they spent so much money on this school. It was so nice. A lot of the people there are so nice. I have never met people that are so nice and generous. They remind me of the Punjabi South Asian community where they're so giving. They invite you to your house, you eat and everything. Yeah. It's amazing. So what I was doing there was I was working with First Nation youth, Inuit youth, and the suicide rate up there is 11 times higher than the rest of Canada.
11 times higher?
11 times higher than the rest of Canada, the north. Because one thing is the lack of sun, lack of mental health resources, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of alcohol abuse, domestic abuse. There's a lot of these issues up there that are not being addressed. Also, intergenerational trauma from so many. They say that it takes 5 generations to overcome this trauma that occurred because of residential schools. 5 generations. Yeah, so a few of the friends that I met up there, their grandparents and their parents went to residential school, and they were just telling me about all these experiences, and I was just like, wow, how can people do that, to people?
It's a real thing, man.
It's a real thing. It's crazy. Yeah. I learned so much. I
can't imagine, man. That's why I want to get you on the show again for
a second time. Sure.
Because I know you're going to go to India, so when you come back from that, I guess part 2 would be I want to learn what you learned there.
Sounds
and
good.
Then India, and to even wrap up, I want to ask you just a couple questions where one is going to be what's a book you'd recommend, man? Right? Anything.
That's a good question. I actually, book would be The Secret.
Yeah.
I think The Secret is, it gives you life lessons that are very relevant.
Yeah.
And it's not, out there. It's such an easy book to read. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend that book.
The Secret, got it. Yeah. And then what's one piece of advice, man, that's really helped you throughout your life?
Advice would be, for me, what I grew up with was to treat every person as an individual that is equal to you, regardless of their race, their sexuality, their orientation, their religion, anything. So my dad and mom really did instill that within me so well. That's what I grew up with. And what I would tell other people would be that for me, like going and traveling the world has expanded my horizon so much.
Big time.
I've always been a goody two shoe. Not gonna deny that, but like for me,
I'm bad enough for the both of us, bro.
No, you're good, man. You're good. So for me, it'd be like travel the world.
Yeah.
To the parents, I would tell them that let your kids go into explore. Thing with our Indian community is a lot of parents are very hesitant to materialistic things instead of like spending it on like spending time with their kids or letting them go explore and travel the world volunteering. So for me, it'd be like in order to discover yourself, you have to go and meet people from all around the world and even your background. Like that's why I went to the Northwest Territories.
Yeah.
Like the North, because it's such a neglected place that I was like, hey, I've volunteered so much overseas. Why do I not volunteer in my backyard?
Yeah.
That was my thing. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, yo. If you ever, check out this guy on Instagram, International Singh. What's the best way for people to even what is it, Facebook?
You can message me on Facebook. Yeah, a lot of little kids. It's pretty cute. They always message me. All these parents like, hey, can you tell my kid what to do? I'm like, I can't really tell you what to do, but I can give you like resources and opportunities that you can use, like how I helped my brother grow up. I can help their kids.
That's sweet, man. No, that's key, right? And so. If you guys want to check out his stuff, check him out on, Instagram. The McDonald's is coming back. But check out Instagram because that's where I really saw a lot of his things. And reach out to this guy. He's sweet, right? He is a goody two-shoes, man. He's got a heart of gold. So, again, thank you for tuning in. And we got a couple more crazy episodes in the works. And this guy is about to bounce, so I'm excited. So I wish you all the best, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Peace. Thank you for watching our videos. Your support really means a lot to us. Check out our podcast and honestly check out the other conversations we've been having as well. You will not be disappointed.